Welcome to Tales on the Towpath, the podcast where every mile tells a story.
We're two runners who spend a lot of time out here on the C&O Canal towpath, talking about training, racing, and everything that happens between the miles.
From early morning runs to the stories that keep us moving.
This is where endurance meets inspiration, one step, one tail at a time.
So lace up and join us on the path, because every trail has a story, and this one's ours.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Adam Lowe.
And I'm Chris Earl.
And I'm Katie Lowe.
Hey, guys. We are here today with a very special guest, ultra runner, just race after race after race. Even I don't know how he does it. We have John Calabrese today with us on the podcast, and we are super excited to get to know him a little bit better. And we're going to talk to him about a few of the races that he's done this year. We're going to talk to him about the Canal 100. We're going to talk to him about JFK, and we're going to talk to him about what he has coming up. And I nerded out when I looked at his ultra sign up and all the races that he had on there. So I cannot wait to jump into this conversation. John, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I've been wanting to come here for a while, so thank you for having me on.
Of course. Why don't we go ahead and have you introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners? Tell us who you are outside of running, maybe where you live, what you do for work, and then just a little bit about yourself.
Wow. So, I don't live a normal life. I'm a caregiver. I live in the country. I have to drive around a lot because where I live is in the middle of nowhere, which is cool for running and stuff, like during the pandemic and everything. But I'm a caregiver for a guy in Manassas. I actually met him through running. Him and his dad were doing a half marathon, and yeah, I was like, whoa, I'd never seen like a duo team before. So I got really fascinated with Ainsley's Angels and got involved with them. I've pretty much pushed every distance that they do, from a 1 mile race to the Taco Bell 50K, which was probably the best race I've ever done. It was hilarious. I don't think there's a single moment I wasn't laughing on that race. Just seeing people about to throw up from eating Taco Bell, that's awesome. That's a wonderful experience. But I'm doing it this year also, so that's pretty much my life. I love running. It just kind of helps me be me. It makes me feel like a kid on the playground. I'm not gonna say it helps my mental health and all that stuff, but it just makes me feel happy. And I think especially with ultras is mainly the people. I don't even know if I like running. Honestly, I don't even know if I like ultras. I know it makes me happy, but just the people are really interesting and like just unique. Like I feel like I fit in with them. I'm sure you've heard that from a bunch of people, like, "Oh, I've my tribe" and all that stuff. But I think it's true. I think there's certain people that you just gel really well with, and I find that a lot of them are in the ultra community, especially the ones that do the real messed up races. As you can see from my ultra sign up rap sheet.
Hey, let me go backwards 1 second. The gentleman that you pushed at Taco Bell 50K, did they eat the tacos as well?
So I pushed my friend Catherine, but we also had
Yeah.
we had a gentleman also. We swapped out a little bit towards the end of the night because the chairs are a little bit different. But yeah, they they ate also, so it was fun. There was we kind of helped each other out. There's some certain because you have to eat. There's required menu items. So some of the stuff they couldn't eat, and so we would step up and eat. And yeah, Crunchwrap Supreme that's the hardest hitting item. Like if you have to just cram that down really fast, it's not good. It's really bad. It's almost imminent throw up. Like it's gonna happen eventually. To keep that down, that's talent. That's ultra stuff right there. The real ultra stuff.
So, how did you first get into running?
So I did like 5Ks and stuff with my family, and then I was just going through like a dark divorce and stuff. And I like honestly I wanted to get into running for a long time. And I think that was just like the catalyst just to find new people and do something different. But the marathon wasn't enough, so I just started signing up for, like, every race after that. Because like, you put all your effort into that one thing, and you're just like, "That's it? That's all it is?" That was, like, sad. I was like, "I need more than that," and I pretty much never stopped. As you can tell by my ultra sign-up sheet, I just keep going.
So can you remember back to your first race? Do you remember what it was?
So, like I said, I did a bunch of 5Ks and stuff with my family, just like, family races, but the first, like, race I did was the, Newport News One City Marathon, and it was fun. I mean, it was cool, but, once I started finding out about ultras, I mean, actually, you know what? Let me back up real quick. So, like, I did the marathon, stuff like that, but I'll say my first real race, the one that really got me into ultras was the Barkley Fall Classic because I didn't even know what I was getting into. I thought I was doing the big Barkley. I thought I was, like, doing the one with, like, the book pages and stuff. I had no idea what I was, like, doing. I thought it was a joke that even got in. I was like, "You guys are messing with me." But that's the one that really got me hooked to ultras because after you meet, like, the people that do those races, you're hooked. You're like, "These people are crazy and I love them." I just wanna I wanna talk to them, tell dark jokes and stuff, just it's like it's kinda like the camaraderie in, like, the military. It's close to that, I think, but it's still a little bit different because I feel like when you I'm not competitive with ultras. I mean, sometimes I get lucky, but for the most part, I just like doing really hard courses and like bonding with people on the course. Like, a bunch of profanity. Just sometimes you just look at each other and you're like communicating like telepathically. Like once you're like climbing up certain things, words just go away. It's just kind of like a weird psychedelic experience without drugs. You start hallucinating at times. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird world and I love it. It's really fun.
Hey, what year did you do Newport News?
Oh
Do you remember?
wow.
Well, I ran, that's where my marathon PR is, but I ran it in 2018.
I think it was 17, man. I think it
Okay.
was 17. That was my first marathon, and then I took a break for a while. I've done it a few times since. That's a great course. I need to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
Like, it I okay, so I have nothing against road ring. I know that some ultra people are like, and all that stuff, but like I think I run with a lot of road runners to help, I don't know, to stay in shape that way also because I feel like it helps on ultras just having that, doing that speed training and stuff like that. I know it sucks, it's hard to do, and people don't want to do it, but I find myself doing it a lot. But I like doing marathons. I wish I had more time to do them. Like I wish I could like carve out a block and try to go for a PR in a marathon, but I probably never will.
Well, hey, I'm glad that you said like the marathon wasn't long enough. You wanted to try ultra running. And like I said, I looked at your ultra sign up results and I saw that the Barkley Fall Classic was your first race on there. And I'm so glad to hear you say that you had no idea what you were signing up for because that is one hell of a first ultra that you could have picked. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, there's no way this guy just popped up the ultra sign up and said, "Give me your hardest challenge," right? Like,
Well, that's how it kinda was. I mean, I like I said, I felt really empty once the marathon was over, and I loved the experience, but I was just thinking, like, like, I want something more than that, and I was dumb. I just started looking up, like, the world's hardest races and stuff like that, and, like yeah, and then signed up for that, and I really never looked back. I just always try to seek out hard stuff, but the only problem, like, with me is it's hard for me to travel to the West Coast. There's so much cool stuff going on the West Coast. Don't get me wrong, I love the East Coast. It's just, when I've done a lot of the races on the East Coast. I'd like to, I've never done a race in Colorado. I've never done really anything out west. Yeah, eventually I'm gonna have all the races done over here. I gotta somehow branch out, but it's tough. If you have like a kid and they got their sports, it's hard. This is a selfish sport. It definitely is, but I love doing it. It's hard to find that, that balance. I struggle with that.
How would your friends and family describe you as a runner?
Oh boy. Selfish? No, I don't know. I hope not. I mean, they used to come to my stuff a lot, but now they're just like, after you do as many races I've done, they're just kind of like, But that's a really good question. I'm scared to even like ask them about like, what do you like my asking my daughter, Jillian, what do you really think about me running as much as I did? That's tough. I mean, I'm very supportive with her though. I go to like her dance competitions and recitals. For example, this weekend, this is what my life looks like. I'm doing a a 50-mile night run that honors the CIA. Basically, it's in Prince William Forest where the OSS CIA were started. So we're doing that, and then like the morning after, I'm basically once I'm done with the race, I'm basically going to a recital. So that's usually what I do. I balance out the races with her dance as best I can. Sometimes it doesn't work out though, because like for races, sometimes we have to do these a year in advance, like sign up for a race a year in advance. For her dance, sometimes we find out her schedule like, 2 months before. So that's caused me a lot of issues planning stuff with like, friends I'm running with and stuff like that. And it sucks. And like I know people get mad at me a lot for that, but I try my best to balance out family life with my running and it doesn't work out great all the time. I'll be the first to say I have a lot of failures with scheduling.
Oh, we totally understand that because, yeah, our kids' schedules come out
Yeah.
sometimes 1 week before they start. And then
Yeah.
we've already scheduled these races months in advance. We can totally relate to that.
Oh, and
All of
the
I would say
training
all
and
of us.
stuff like that, it's brutal.
Or you have like an 8th grader that tells you about her band concert that's tomorrow night, and it's the first time you've heard about it, right? Right, Katie?
Yep, yep, true story. That has happened at least once in the past few weeks.
It,
Yeah.
But I don't think just to chime in a little bit about, like, you saying it being selfish though, but it's important for you to take care of you, and it sounds
I
like you're
know.
trying to balance as much as you can, and sometimes, choices have to be made, but,
I think my daughter,
I think
I think she
yeah.
gets that. Like, I've tried to explain to her as best I can. Like, this is something that really helps me. Kind of find myself. I explained what I said earlier. Like, it helps me feel like like I'm young again. Like I'm like a kid on a playground. It makes me happy, and we all need that in life. Whatever outlet that is, if it's running or anything else. I think she gets that, but at the same time, she's a kid. So she's gonna like she might be resentful at times and stuff like that. So I try to be empathetic towards that also, but it's tough.
Well, just like we're selfish, kids are very selfish too, so
Adults are just kids. Oh, adults are
that's
just kids
right.
with money. That's all it is. We're
Yeah,
no
there you
better.
go.
We're no better.
All right. So, hey, what's something most people listening probably wouldn't know about you?
Boy, I mean, I hate to say it. I'm kind of like all over Instagram. Like I gotta like just post everything, but mainly just because I want people to see caregivers and like, the cool stuff and like to hopefully inspire people to help others. That's a lot of what I do. So like I'm kind of really transparent. I pretty much throw it out there. I I don't have like a really cool life. I'm a dance dad and I help take care of people, which I hope I could get inspire other people to do. I mean, I was in the Navy, that's one thing, but I've talked about that a lot. I'm pretty much an open book. And like maybe that's like a good thing about me is that I'm very transparent. I don't have secrets. A lot of my past I've been pretty open about. Like, I had a lot of troubles in the Navy with substance abuse and stuff like that. That helped lead me into the path of being a runner also. But yeah, I've talked a lot about that stuff. I'm an open book. I'm trying I'm struggling to think of anything right now, but I'm so honest with I try to just be like completely transparent with people and honest about who I am, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. Like if if you know something, like, I feel like if you know something about me that I don't put out there, then, like, then you could, like, really you could make me trip up because I throw it all out there.
I think that's great though. A lot of people try to hide behind,
Mhm.
things, and I try to be the same. Like, my running is my running, and I share it, and I'm not ashamed of it. We have good days, we have bad days. It's all out there.
The only thing, like, so, like, I mean, but even on, like, races, so, like, I talk a lot about movies and music and pop culture and stuff. Like, I know a lot of people talk about running while they're running and stuff like that, but, like, I'm not that guy. Like, I'll talk about just, like, random movies, like, impressions. So sometimes yeah, competitive eating, comedian. I do like weird stuff like that. But we're runners, we're basically competitive eaters anyway. Especially if you're an ultra runner, you have to keep those calories and stuff like that. So I don't know. I throw myself out there. I'm pretty much an open book. I'm boring, man. I put it all out there.
So you have 171 results on Ultra sign up. And I think just by listening now in the last 15 minutes, I think I know why, right?
Yeah.
Because you love that pain, right? Like I can tell there's something about that pain, or you just I don't know. You help me out. Like, what is it that keeps you coming back?
It's not the way I run. Like I don't really. It's not really painful. I mean, I won't push myself to the point I'm not gonna I'm probably in most cases not gonna I'm not gonna win the race, but I'm also gonna be able to run the next day. So like I feel like I kind of have like a self-governing like thing going on. Even after like I got a PR for 100 miler this year at CNO, and I still ran like the next day afterwards, I think. I felt fine. Now Old Dominion this weekend, I felt pretty rough. I had to take a day off after. But yeah, I don't know. I try to space myself out so I can run every weekend and yeah, every weekend, train during the week and feel good. I've also like stepped up and started doing like weightlifting and swimming and cross training and stuff like that. So I'm, pretty healthy. My diet sucks, but yeah, I love doing a bunch of races and I try to, pace myself accordingly. I know it doesn't look that way, but I'm doing a pretty good job of keeping healthy to be able to do the races. Now, I know I could do better on these if I didn't do as many. That's something that's been, trainers and everybody tell me that, but I'm just like, I like being around again. if I didn't like being around the people so much, I wouldn't run as much as I do. I just love being around the community, so that it's mainly that.
That's yeah, that's
I
2 different, like, I guess 2 different race results, right? Like, are you gonna train and put all your eggs in one basket, or are you gonna try to do, like, the endurance side and go race after race after race? So there's a time and place for all of that, you know, and if that's the place you're in right now, like, I respect it, right? I do the same thing. So,
It's interesting, man. There's so many different types of ultra runners. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Yeah, I mean, there's people that do like the continuous races. There was people that spread them out to try to get like a better result. And then like also within like that as well. I mean, there's people that just like to do races that have like the longer cutoffs and like do more hiking and stuff like that. Then there's people that like to run hard. I'm somewhere in there. There's I got really good races at times. Like sometimes I surprise myself. I'm like, wow, I guess I spaced it out somehow without even really try. Like it just kind of happened. Like that's if you look at my results, like sometimes I'll like win a race or something. Just I don't even know how it happened. Just because of I guess the schedule worked out right. I don't know. It's kind of funny how it works out like that. I love it.
I think being at so many races, sometimes that feeling of being around your people and I don't know, just because you've mentioned that that's one of the best things that you like about running, I think that's addictive is being around so many people and like having that good feeling just of being surrounded by your community. So we're also big racers, probably not as much as you do. But with that said, what race or performance would you say you're most proud of?
Oh wow. Oh boy. Most proud of. I could go a few different ways on this. I probably at JFK last year. I mean, it was kind of like a frustrating result, but at the same time, I'm very proud of it. I really wanted to get the top 100 to get the gold medal, but I missed it by 3. But at the same time, if you look how many races I did last year, I can't get that mad at that. And there was also it was a big PR. So like in JFK, like the thing that's crazy about that race is like if you do get in a situation like that where you're gonna miss out on a goal like that, you see the people pass you. You know they're passing you. Like you don't know exactly where you're at, but like once you find out afterwards, you're like, wow, all I had to do was step that up, and it was 3 people right there. I know the people that passed me. It's great. That's the interesting race like that, and the how strategic it is and stuff like that. I'd say JFK was probably the most interesting for me because it was a PR, but at the same time, like it's weird. Like runners are people think we're greedy because of stuff like that, but like when you miss a window, I don't think it's greed. I mean, like you might not get that again. I might not be able to ever crack the top 100, or like at CNO this year, I got a PR. I got 20 hours and I think 41 minutes or something like that. But the guy I was running with, Pat Early, he was locked in and he was like, we're going to get under 20. And he did, but I bonked out like at mile 92, which I can't get mad. I mean, how often for me, like I'm always bonked out way before mile 92. Like I can't get mad at something like that. But at the same time, that might be the last chance I have to go under 20. So yeah, running's so crazy like that. But I'd say JFK, either JFK or CNO this year.
So, John, I don't know if you remember, but you either passed me right before we got off the CNO or right as we were on the road as you were moving up to get to 103 and I was falling back to I think I finished 128. So
Oh wow.
I think I do remember you passing me in that section somewhere in
I
there.
don't know what. So like the crazy thing this year, like that's the fastest I've ever won JFK. Like I usually in the CNO, I've never been that fast. I think I just dialed in the shoes right. Like I was wearing a pair of the Hoka Carbon Rocket X. They just felt really good on the trail and or the towpath. And yeah, I just felt amazing. It was the first time ever. I was just thinking that when I was running it too, I was like, this seems so much faster. This used to take me forever. It's so cool, like when that unfolds like that. But it was just something I've never experienced before. And even I was like in disbelief. I was like, is this even happening right now? So yeah, I had a great time at that race. I hope I'm not doing it this year because I'm doing it. I told you guys about the race. I'm doing a crazy underground race in an abandoned turnpike tunnel. I can't say no to that. I love JFK, but like that popped up, and I was like, if I don't do this and it doesn't come back around, I mean, this is like the movie Backrooms or something. This is probably they're probably gonna make a horror movie about this later on or something like that. But yeah, I couldn't say no to that. It's too big of an adventure to pass up on, even though. I'm gonna be like breaking a streak and stuff like that. I mean, I'm gonna have to just to go underground in a weird turnpike or abandoned turnpike tunnel for 160 miles. I can't say no to that. That's just who I am.
I love how, like, the races you're most proud of are also races that you think that you failed at, like, I mean, you didn't fail, you PR'd, right? But you also missed, two big goals in there, but you're still proud of those experiences and proud of those races. So I find that, like, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but like it's still, it's pretty cool how they kind of go hand in hand. Like you're proud of it, but you're not satisfied with it. So it's kind of like reminding me when we talked to Fogel on here, how like, he accomplished goal A, B, and C, but he wasn't satisfied or happy, with the complete end result.
Well, that's interesting too. Like Fogel's a cool dude. I know him from like the Marine Corps races and stuff like that. And he knows Donald, the guy that I'm a caregiver for. But like, yeah, like I'm not like I'm. If I try to run with Fogel, I'll black out. Like that guy's so fast. But it's interesting. I'm just like again, I just like being a part of the races and stuff like that. I mean, I might get lucky here and there and do well, but I'm not competitive in any capacity. But still, like, it doesn't matter. I feel like it doesn't matter what type of runner you are. If you like, if you're on the cusp of a goal, I mean, like that's gonna, for me, that haunts me. And I'm not even a competitive person, but I still think about that a lot, because it might not happen again. And I think in life you have to capitalize on that type of stuff because it's so short, like that's the time I could have done that. For me, I carry that with me mainly because if I do get in a situation like that again, like, next time I run JFK, I'm just gonna be that much more motivated to get that top 100 or for CNO break 20. I know some people would probably say it's not healthy to carry that stuff with you, but I think it is. I think it's a good motivator and get pissed off, let that stuff get you angry because you had it right there. So like use that to train harder, use it to wake up if like I did this morning at 2:30 to go run at 4 with sub 3 marathoners. I mean that sounds awful in itself, but I love doing it because it's going to push me to be stronger next race.
All right. I think a lot of times it's easy to get excited and talk about the races that have gone well. But what about your toughest day out on the course? Do you have a race that sticks out of one that was especially hard and can maybe you can tell us a little bit about how that developed and how it went?
So one thing about my ultra sign up is that I have lots of DNFs on there, and they don't even have, not all the DNFs are even on there. Same with races, though. I've done a bunch of like badass races and stuff like that. You guys know some of them don't have any result on there. There's races I forgot about even that like don't even exist anymore. That they don't even. That's what kind of stinks about ultra sign up too is that like it doesn't record all those races. So like there's ones that'll probably they'll get forgotten in time. But as far as like really bad races, one year I did CNO. I think it was 2023, possibly. Was it 2023? It might have been 2023. I got this mile 75. Eh, I think what happened was this, like, I at first, I went into the race thinking I didn't wanna try to go for sub 24, and then when I got on there, I just switched it up. Like, anytime I do that, it's gonna be a bad race, and it was, like, one of those you know how this, 100 is, like, it can be really humid and gross at times, and, like, I bonked out really bad, and I couldn't it was one of those situations where I couldn't even, like, move at 75. I was, like, laying on the ground, and, like, these dudes were, like, reciting like David Goggins and stuff, and I was just like, "Shut up! I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm gonna DNF. I'm gonna DNF this race because you're saying that." It was bad. Yeah, I was really chafed. I let a lot of stuff go. It was awful, and like that. But again, like that stuff helps me. And then like I think even the year after that, I finished it by like I think I finished it. What was it like 29 hours. So like I don't know. See, Canal is like weird with me. Like I did really good this year, but like the last couple times I ran it, I did so bad, and that could be why I did so good this time. Like I let those two situations haunt me, and then yeah, I just tried to do better at it. I mean, like I think for me, if I get my ass kicked on races like that, I'm just gonna go back. It's gonna take me a while to redo stuff, but I will learn from it. It takes a long time for me to learn, but I will learn. And I'll do better.
Mhm.
So I think anyone that fears DNFs, I mean, like, yeah, they suck, but they're also going to teach you to be a better runner and just, capitalize better on situations and train harder.
Hey, so John, speaking about your DNFs that are on ultra signup, so like I said, I went through and looked, and you do have just a couple of DNFs on there, which
A lot.
I respect that, right? That means you showed up and you went for it, for whatever reason, whatever happened during that race. Maybe it was bad weather, maybe it was undertrained, a little bit underprepared, maybe it was just like you said, went out too quick or whatever. Have you ever regretted one of those DNFs that
Oh,
you
yeah.
maybe can think of a story like, after you got back to the car, you're thinking, Man, I could have finished that or anything. Go ahead.
No, the worst was the last race before like COVID shut down all the races. I did Beast of Burden up in Buffalo, and it was awesome. I mean, like we don't get that great of winter here. I mean, like we get some snow, but nothing like up in Buffalo in February. I got to like mile 75, and improperly layered on the last loop, and I was like covered in sweat and stuff, and I was starting to get icy. And when I got back to the aid station, all I had to do was one more out and back, and I would have finished. And the dudes were like, "I'll give you my clothes." I didn't have any like dry clothes at the aid station that I was at, or actually the start to the race where you go back out and do the loop again, or the out and back. And people were like, "I'll give you my clothes. Just go out and get it done." I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And I was just like, I just didn't want to do it because like I don't know why. I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And then right after that, it was almost like karma for like just dogging the race. Like all the races shut down, so then I was running marathons around fields and stuff for virtual races. Sucks. That sucked. Wasn't fun.
That experience tracks then because I noticed that in like 2021 you ran like 23 ultras. So
Yeah.
I think you were just making up for that one DNF and then making up for time lost due to COVID. You had to make it all up in 1 year in 2021, huh?
Well, in 2020 though, also like I ran. I think that's the most I ever ran in a year, just because all the virtual stuff. I think I ran like 5,000 miles. Like it was every day I would wake up. I'd do like either like a 50K or like close to a marathon, and then just hang out with my daughter all day. It was awesome. I mean, like COVID was like horrible for a lot of people, but like I was one of those random people that like for whatever however it worked, it just I had my daughter here, and we ate a lot of food. We watched cartoons. We watched like Scooby Doo. We got obsessed with Scooby Doo. It was awesome. So like we watched cartoons. I ran like constantly, and it was funny too because like with the great virtual race across Tennessee, like there was like elites doing it like Harvey Lewis. I was like, I'm gonna take out Harvey today. I know I can do it. And then he'd do like an 80-mile run. I'd be like, no. But so like it was like yeah, it was like a really weird, unique experience. I wish that more runners would come out and like write books and talk more about like the experience during COVID. Like for me, I had a lot of fun, but again, I know nobody wants to talk about because there was a lot of horrific stuff that happened during it. But I had some really good running experiences during it, and I thought there was a lot of people that were trying to step up. And it was terrible the races got canceled also, but people were trying, like Laz was trying to make it really cool on everybody and all the elites that were doing that great virtual race. And then like there's a lot of other ones out there too. So yeah, I was probably signed up for all of them. It was awesome.
So, what would you say keeps you coming back to these longer distances?
Oh boy. I mean, for me, I always up the ante. I think that's what it is. Like if you look at my races this year, I'm doing like I'm signed up for Jigger Johnson, doing Manitou's Revenge again, Mass Nutton's Revenge. All the you know what race is hard if it's got like revenge or blood or something crazy in the title. Yeah, if it's got something like that, you're in deep shit. But like, yeah, I really like to do stuff that pushes the envelope, and again, not necessarily to try to like I don't know, like I'm not like egotistical and trying to get like good times and stuff like that, but just I want to meet like the weirdos that do these races. Like I want to meet the people like up north, like in you know, PA, Vermont, like New England, New York, that are doing Manitou and Jigger Johnson, because I've never really ran up in New England. I know their trails are crazy, and that's probably gonna hurt me up there because I've never ran them. But I've done Manitou's Revenge in the Catskills, so that I think that's a good prep up. But again, it's not a complete substitute for the New England trails, especially the White Mountains.
Yeah, we've had Billy on, and the White Mountains are one of the areas he likes to talk about a lot when he talks about hard trail running. Yeah,
I'm in danger.
I look forward to hearing how you do up there and getting some stories for
I
that.
mean, I'm gonna try my best to finish. I mean, I've been working really hard towards my fitness and everything, going to the gym, doing stuff I don't normally do, seeking out technical trails, but I just not ever running the whites. That's a huge disadvantage. So I mean, like I'm remaining very optimistic, but I'm hoping I can get it done. I'll leave it at that.
Chris, do you think we should rename like Fire on the Mountain to like the Revenge of the Mountain or like
The
the
blood of the blood of the mountain.
Blood of the Blue Trail?
Not the blue
Yeah,
trail.
Yeah, well,
the bleeding blue tree.
So, hey, John, we're going to switch gears a little bit here. And what we want to do now is just kind of dive a little bit deeper into your Canal 100 and JFK experiences. You may have mentioned this already and I missed it, but how many times have you run the Canal
Oh
100?
wow. So I finished I think 3 times and I DNF'd it once. I think I'm at three finishes, one DNF, one epic DNF.
Do you have a most memorable story from the Canal 100?
Probably the DNF. Yeah, just laying on the ground trying to vomit and guys are reciting Goggins to me. That was a nightmare.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey, so how did you get back to the finish line if you were on the ground at
So
mile 75?
so wait, Manidokin is 70. Wait, hold on. I was wherever Manidokin.
Manidokin's 70.
Yeah, okay, that's where it was. It was there. Yeah,
Okay.
it was so that's an easy spot to DNF because your car, you're
Yeah.
basically your car's right there. Yeah, it was. I'll just say it was a easy decision to quit. I had people there, and I was literally lying on the ground because the ground was really cold and it was like so hot and muggy and everything. I was just like lying on the ground to cool down, trying to throw up and listen to bros talk about Goggins. It was basically a nightmare.
Hey, so we have a bunch of people who we know that are gonna, or that or at least are talking about running the Canal 100 next year. So, what's one piece or two pieces of advice that you would give to somebody who's going to run this race for their first time or for their first 100 miler?
Oh, wow. Identify your goals, like what you want to do if you just want to get that finish or if you want to, aim for like a sub 24, make sure you identify that. And if you're going to just go for a finish, where things are comfortable, like, especially like shoes and stuff like that. If you're going for sub 24, I would recommend like a carbon plated shoe that you can run in and feel comfortable running in, but just tailor your gear towards what your goal is and actually have a planned training. Don't just wing it. Don't just wing that. That's the most hilarious thing about CNO. I've talked to so many people, like a couple people like from the Naval Academy that just sign up randomly, never ran like more than the 5K in their life, and then they somehow they somehow finished. One dude finished it. I think it was the first year I ran CNO Canal 100, and like he finished, but he looked like hell. And like that, those are the people I have the most respect for running. Like no training whatsoever, and somehow they finished that. I have more respect for that than like anybody because it shouldn't happen, but they did somehow.
So speaking of training, what how do you train for the 100? Like you said, train specifically for it. Do you train is it a lot more than training for a marathon, let's say? Or what do
Yeah,
you think?
I mean, what I do is during the week I run with marathoners like for speed, and like they do stuff I don't want to do, like that nobody wants to do, like the track workouts, intervals. Yeah, that stuff's hard. I mean, a lot of ultra runners don't even do that, but it's helped me a lot recently. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't. I felt like it didn't really help me as much for what's it called? What I did last weekend, Old Dominion, because like that's a weird race because there's it's not just like running like how CNO is. Sherman's Gap is on there, so you have multiple different skill sets you have to do on there, like highly technical terrain and the running also. So for me, like if I'm gonna do a course for me that I'm gonna do better on is something like CNO. I mean, the only hard part on there is like going up to Manidokin, and that you could get hurt on that. Like if you're really tired, I've probably I've probably gotten pretty hurt on that before. I probably don't even remember. Like or even before they had the bridge there, that was bad. I've seen
Yeah.
people eat it there. But yeah, that's the only hard part on that race. But training on 100s is really hard because like they're all so different and they're all hard. I try to tell people there's no such thing as the easy 100, but everyone has different skill sets. So like like again for me, I think right at this point in time, CNO is probably one of I'm stronger at it, or like that part of the JFK compared to doing like more technical stuff. Like especially with Old Dominion, people don't understand how hard of a race that is because like you have to get sub 24 to buckle and sub 28 just to finish, which that's pretty hard. I mean, getting sub 28 on something like very trained like that, I think that's really difficult. And for me, if I'm doing something more technical, I'd rather do something like MMT where they give you like 35 hours to finish, so you have a lot of extra time on some of these other races or like another example, like so Jigger Johnson's very hard, and you need 52 hours or whatever it is to complete that. But I mean, like think about that though, from it, they're giving you that much time, whereas like a race like Old Dominion, you have to finish that in under 28 hours. It's just crazy. You really have to tailor your training and your what you're gonna do to the race. That's how I look at it.
Okay, so transitioning into JFK, how many times have you run that race?
I've done it 5 times. It's crazy too because I think every time I've ran it actually, I got incrementally better. Like the first time I did it, this is so funny. I had this conversation when we were doing Old Dominion. So like the first time I did it, they didn't give me the vest, like like the vest of
Yeah.
shame or whatever. I didn't get the vest the first time. They gave me the bracelet though, so I had the bracelet of shame. It's funny too because like I didn't know that was like a thing the first year I ran it, but like this guy I was running with, I guess he wasn't as doing as good as like other years. He was like, "Oh, I don't want to get the vest, man." He was talking about the vest. I was like, "Ah, it's whatever." And then I haven't got any vest or reflective gear since. I mean, I would get like a little bit better every time, and then this last one, it's funny how that works. Like I tell a lot of people that have only done JFK once, I'm like, you need to run it again because you're gonna amaze yourself how fast you can run it compared to the last time. Because even if you don't, even if you do it and you don't like JFK, you're still thinking about. I mean, it's such a cool course, and how strategic it is like that. You're still, as a runner, you're still thinking about it. Even if you don't like JFK, you're still thinking about it.
I didn't know about this bracelet thing though.
You didn't
That
you
y
didn't know about the
so
bracelet?
no.
You've never been in that
That was
situation, huh?
Well,
no,
we
no,
got
no. I
vests.
we got vests.
They
I've
gave me
gotten
a
vests
they gave me a
every time
bracelet.
but last year.
So this was
Like
in
Interesting.
my first year was 2018. We weren't it was still light out, so they didn't give us the vest when I got off the Sino Canal. Like,
Yeah.
when you first go up that big hill after the Sino Canal on the
Mhm.
road, there was a
Yeah.
dude there, and he gave us bracelets, and, like, I guess, like, if, the people, like, directly behind us, like, probably the people coming off the Sino, maybe, like, a half hour later, they were gonna get the vest. Yeah, I got the bracelet.
So the mark for that, just for listeners, is 3 p.m. when you get there. Adam, do the math real quick. How long is that after the race starts? I don't know. But at 3 p.m. and I got there, we were well after 3 p.m. the first year that I ran with Adam. And then the next year I got there at 3:03. And the following, my third time I got there at 3:05. But last year I was ahead. So
it's also it's a safety vest, okay? Not the vest of shame. It's a
Yeah.
safety vest. I'm
That
just
that that's what the dude was saying. That's not me. That was the
I
guy.
don't
I
know.
was and that was my first year doing it. So he set that standard. He was like, "Oh, we suck." I was just like, "I don't care. I just want to finish this race. I've never done it before." But yeah, I'm really chill with stuff like that. I mean, like I didn't push myself to like not get the vest or whatever. I just got better at every year I did it. I feel like if you do a race like JFK constantly, you're gonna get better at it. And it's a cool race. You learn what gear works better. Like the first year I ran JFK, I wore the Brooks Cascadia, and that's okay on like certain races and stuff, but like now when I do it, I wear straight up road shoes on it. Like I've gotten good enough on the AT that part of the AT that I don't need to wear trail shoes on that. I'll just wing it with the road shoes, and yeah, I think it's fun.
So, do you have a piece of advice for someone who's going to run JFK for the first time that would be maybe a little bit different than what you would tell someone running the Canal 100?
Well, I would say like just know that there's a lot of aid out there. Like look at the information out there. I don't carry a pack out there anymore. I run it more like a marathon, a handheld water bottle. I'll bring some salt tabs and stuff like that. Kind of minimal because everything you need's at the aid stations. There's so much aid out there. I would really consider what gear to bring with you because a lot of the stuff's out there. And I think like my first time, I just brought way too much stuff on me. Like, I had like a pack and all this stuff. And I mean, like if you need that, cool. But I don't with how much stuff's out there. And also, I mean, you pay good money for the race too. Take advantage of some of the food that's already out there. Like there's homemade cookies that JFK cookies. People put a lot of time and effort into that. Don't just abandon that stuff. Take advantage.
Yeah, my 3rd year doing JFK, it was my year that I was coming off an injury, and we had cheeseburgers, hot
Yeah.
dogs, french fries. I mean, we've talked about the aid stations before on
Red
this
velvet
podcast.
cake. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, they're
let, let,
amazing.
let me tell you something real quick. So like last year, this is so funny. I wasn't gonna take the red velvet cake because like I was like being like time conscious. Like I was like, oh, top 100, I gotta get there. So I wasn't gonna take that. But like they like forced me to. They're like, no, you have to take this. I was like, you're right, I'm gonna eat this. And then they started cheering me. I was like, I love ultra running. You guys are cheering me for eating red velvet cake. This is an awesome sport. Where else could you get this?
Maybe the July 4th hot dog eating contest would be the only other time you get cheered for like stuffing food in your mouth, right? They don't do that at the Golden Corral, that's for sure.
No, no, you get heckled for doing that. No, ultra runners like, yeah, it's cool. That's why I was going back to competitive eating. I think that, ultra running is a good gateway into that sport also because you're doing it already.
Hey, let's transition one more time to like the nitty gritty. We talked about your training a little bit with the marathoners and getting faster work and stuff like that. Let's talk about the mental side a little bit. I think this is one of the topics that we've had before on other of our other podcasts, and people really relate to it because running's not an easy mental sport. There's a lot of like mind games, and you always doubt yourself during the race, during training, and stuff like that. So one of these ultras that you've had, which is probably all of them, right? You probably almost all of them, you go through a bad spot. So, what goes through your mind during these dark moments of an ultra? What are you able to reflect on to help get you through that?
So I'm kinda goofy to begin with. Like I said, like, if I'm with somebody, we'll just talk about, like, I'll throw anything out there, basically. I will find something just, like, a goofy and offbeat to talk about, impressions, anything like that. I try to stick with people, like, so example, on Old Dominion, there's a horrible stretch that I can't stand. It's like an ATV path that, like, you would normally never run on. Like, the ATV roads and stuff like that? Trail runners don't go on those really, like, a lot of them are private, and you wouldn't be running on that stuff anyway, so it's kinda like weird footing, weird hills that just, like, don't end. I was with, like, a group of 4 people, and we had, like, really funny discussions, like, leading up to it, and during the whole ATV, I didn't say a single word, and I talk all the time on ultras, but I was just, like, in my own, like I was like, "Ah," like, I can't stand the ATV path at Old Dominion, but I was just listening to them talk and, like, just somehow, like, they were able to help pull me along just, like, listening to them. Sometimes just listening helps if you just get in a rut, like, sometimes you don't need to talk, like, if you're not feeling like talking, just, stay out of your bad thoughts by just listening to others. Sometimes, like, this is so weird, but, like, sometimes, like, if I hear somebody talking about something, like, I'll be I'll respond to it in my head, and, just, like, I'll have, like a weird conversation that's not even actually happening, or I'll just think about what they said. Anything to take me off what's going on the trail at that moment. I think I struggled so much early on in ultras with just, like, getting used to it and then just trying to battle, like, depression, alcoholism, and stuff like that. I've been through so much darkness, man, like, I think that now the mental side is getting easy. It took a long time, but I think the mental stuff's getting easy. The harder thing for me now is just dialing in the proper nutrition, especially when it's hot out. Like, I felt so sick at Old Dominion. Yeah, it's hard. That stuff I'm trying to get better at now, but I think, like, I've gotten really strong, mentally, and again, dialing in physical fitness and stuff like that. I just gotta work on the nitty-gritty with keeping my stomach from getting wrecked out there.
Well, so we just talked about how you handle the some of the mental struggles or dark moments in racing. How would you say you handle the pain or the fatigue? Do you have self-doubt during races? Like how do you handle those things?
So I try to be Old Dominion is another good example. So, like, I went into it wanting to get the buckle and going sub 24, but my thing is this, like with Fogel, how you were mentioning before, how he has the different, like his different A, B, C goals. I don't really have that, but at the same time, like I try to be really reasonable with myself. I don't want to have self doubt and stuff like that. But if I know to push, like to get the buckle, I'm going to get injured or like, I'm going to like cause sickness, then I will dial it back and just go for the finish. And then the last case, my last, thing is the, the DNF, of course. But I tried, I've done really good this year, especially. I don't, knock on wood, I haven't had a DNF yet, and I've been racing a ton. I think Old Dominion was my 14th or 15th ultra this year, and I've done a lot. Yeah, I've done a lot of other stuff on top of that, like road races and stuff, pushing with Ainsley's. So yeah, I mean, like I've conquered that pretty good. Going back to like how we talked earlier about like being very transparent and everything, I'm very honest with myself. If I see it on the horizon, like at mile 20 or 30, by then on a race pretty much. Like if you know you're gonna get the buckle, none of that's there. If that's there at all, I don't think you're gonna get it. You have to have, it's gonna be. I mean, in the past, I can like fight through some stuff, but if it's there and it's prevalent, I think you have to dial it back and just go for a finish or just like a lesser goal. I think you have to be realistic with yourself.
So, how would you say the way you deal with ultra running, how does that carry over into your daily life?
Oh wow. So I try to only do things that make me happy, and we only get one life. I don't want to. I'd rather throw it all out there and die knowing that, I left nothing out there on the table. That's how I am. It's kind of the same with ultras. I mean, like, I wish I wish I could do better on ultras and run faster and stuff like that. But again, you know, I do a lot of different races, but at the end of the day, I try to live life and just do as much as I can. I think that carries over, just how many races I do into how much stuff I do. Like if you look on in social media and stuff like that, what I do with my buddy Donald or with my daughter, I we do all kinds of stuff, and yeah, I just try to I try to live a full life, and I try to have a full race schedule. It's kind of the same thing.
Love that.
I do love watching you guys play soccer
Oh,
on,
it's the
like, the
best.
tennis
Well, you
courts.
know what's funny too? So, like, I think it took 5 years. I am the worst soccer player ever. I think finally Donald's turned me into a soccer player also. So, like, it's hilarious. Like, I like what he likes me to do is just kick the shit out of the ball to him, and just like it's hard to aim it right because he's got like a cage on his power chair. You got to hit it just right. But, like, he likes it so, like, if I hit the ball just right onto his cage, the ball gets, like, airborne. So, like, eventually, we're gonna get to a point where, like, he can kick field goals, I think. We can get him there. We're gonna have him clear the fence to the court. I think we can do it.
Hey, John, so what goals or what races do you have coming up? But
Everything.
yeah, what are some key ones that you have coming up forward?
So, this weekend, I'm doing, OSSCIA. Next weekend's a big one, doing, Massanuttons Revenge or not Massanutten, Manitou's Revenge, different revenge. So yeah, that's a big one because I think that's gonna help get me ready for what's it called, Jigger Johnson. I'm doing Ironstone 100K for the first time this year. I love PA races, love Pennsylvania. Again, unfortunately, I'm not doing JFK. I'm doing the Void this year, but again, I can't turn down the opportunity to run underground in the dark in November, doing 160 miles on the turnpike. So yeah, I'm doing a bunch of weird races. Yeah, I'm doing Burning River again, Massanutton's Revenge. Yeah, so I think I'm doing 6 100s this year. Got 2 of them done so far, so that's pretty good. I think the most I've ever done in a year is 5. I'd do more if I could, but that's the problem with the sport though. It's costly to do that stuff. If I had it my way, like I had sponsors and stuff like that, I would do 100 every weekend or more. Like I would try to do like 200s and like just go all over the place. But yeah, I do probably the most races I can with with what time and balance I can. So yeah, I've got a crazy schedule this year, and I'm probably gonna have to dial it back some next year. But I've already got races scheduled for next year. I'm doing a 200 miler and a 3-day race also. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
So, hey, Adam, I do have one listener question for John.
Okay.
When we were out on the trails tonight, the guys and I were talking about how many races you do, and one of them said, "Does he get insurance for all of these races? Because you've got them all stacked up for months in advance."
No, no,
Like,
I don't. And that's gotten me before. Like I've had to drop out races, and I've DNF'd races before just because I feel bad. Like like I'll miss my daughter out there, or like again I'll get into a situation where like with her sports, I have to make a decision, and she'll be cool with it. That I can go to the race and like I miss an event, but then I'll feel bad and end up just going anyway. It's tough. That's the hard. I think that's the hardest part about it. And yeah, during COVID, I and that's the thing that sucks too. Like a lot of the races I do are local, and I'm not going to be like, I want my money back or any of that stuff. I'm like, nah, just I have really good rapport with the race directors and stuff like that. I'm not going to like, I wouldn't ask for that back, or maybe like, yeah, I mean, like, I've never got a situation where I'm like, hey, let me do this or whatever. I just like, all right, just keep it because I know a lot of times race directors like I do the races so much they'll help me out with stuff and like look out for me. So I try to just keep a really good relationship.
Well, if listeners take away one thing from the conversation we've had tonight, what would you want it to be?
Just be cool out there on the trails. Be understanding. Try to help others. That can't run. They can't run the trails, can't run the road. Look out for others. Be nice to the race directors, like I just mentioned. That's a tough job. Don't be jerks to them. And yeah, just be mindful and understanding. I like I like the people in ultra running still. I think it's gotten a little bit more, type A, kind of like road running in ways, but I think we still got a lot of cool people. I hope it stays cool. That's my worry with ultra running. We don't want to get too much like don't get me wrong, I like road runners and stuff like that. And I get competitive at times. Like, like I said, I get mad if I miss, if I see a window and I miss it, but I just hope that we all, we don't create too many divisions within the sport because that's sad. You don't want to see a lot of people fighting about like stuff like that. And like I said, I got friends that are road runners and stuff. Yeah, I just hope that we can all like maintain friendships and stuff like that because I feel like there's a lot of people that just like, oh, the triathletes suck, oh, the road runners suck. I just try to be cool with everybody. Just try to be, I just hope that other runners just respect everybody and try to be understanding because we're all different. We all got our shit. We're not perfect. Just own it, understand it.
Next episode, guys, is road runners versus trail runners.
Are you
That's the
serious?
next episode. Eh,
No, no.
The war of all war.
So, John, in looking through your list of races, I now have seen Capital Backyard and I've seen Andy's Backyard. Those were a few years ago, though. Are you done with the backyard format? Did you like
Let,
those
let,
races
let me
or
let me
uh,
tell you something. I hate those races. The longest I've ever done is 100K. It's like okay, so you see the same it's the same stuff. Like how can people do that for like 2 or 3 days? Like it's you're not seeing anything different. And like if you have like a kid or something, like how are you gonna say I can't stay out there that long. I'll feel bad. Like I'm just like I got shit to do, people. I can't wait here forever. I mean, I don't understand people are that motivated to run that loop for 3 days. Like I was yeah, the most I can do is 100K. I did the fur butt one year, and like the person I was with, like as soon as they were like they got hurt or something, or they just were they were malingering, or I didn't care at the time. I was just like, whatever. I was like, cool, whatever you're saying right now, just give me the motivation to quit this race. I don't want to be here. Let's get out of here. Let's go watch a movie. Let's live life. Let's get out of the backyard. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So that's my rant on those. I won't do them again. I respect the people that do. That format's just weird. Like if I'm gonna do a 24-hour race, I want to do it on my own pace. Like I don't want to wait around. I lock up and stuff like that. Or I find myself eating too much food or too little. It it's a weird format. I've never been able to understand it, and I'm probably done with it.
yeah, when I did Capital, we talked about this before, but that was my hardest part was the pacing. Like when
Yeah.
I felt good, I just wanted to go run, but I wasn't allowed to. I had to stop and wait and until, they said go again. So that was the hardest part for me
Yeah,
as
and
well.
I've tried it every way too. Like I've tried to do the loop slow. I try to do it fast. I've tried to just kind of like, I've tried all kinds of variations. It never feels right. Like I can never get like a good pace down on it. It's a weird race. It's hard. I've never been able to do it.
Any thought of when your daughter's older running the entire Appalachian Trail?
Oh, that'd be cool. I would love to do that. She's not really into running too much. Like we've done some 5Ks. My dream with her, you're gonna say I'm a bad trail runner now, but like I'd like to do the Marine Corps Marathon with her just because I think for like, when she gets older, it's an obtainable thing. It's not like too aggressive, like compared to like, doing like a 50K or something like that. Like let's go run Barkley. It's not like, she's not gonna want to do that. Like but I think Marine Corps is something that she would do because she helped me crew me one time when I was pushing with Ainsley's when she was very young. And I was scared because I thought that I was gonna have to stop the race and take her home because it was in 2019. It was the year it was like raining and stuff. But she toughed it out, and she traveled with the other parents with Ainsley's, and like they met up with us at different spots in the race. So I think it'd be cool to that'd be a cool full circle moment being able to run that with her. But I'm not gonna force her to. I've tried to be really cool with that. Like I had her do a bunch of different sports like lacrosse, stuff like that. All just anything you think about riding. Dance is what her passion right now. She still does some like 5Ks and stuff to humor me. She'll run with me a little bit and do races. But yeah, I'd love to do a marathon with her. I think that's something that if the any distance, I think that might be able to help reel her in, but it won't be till later on. So we'll see what happens. I I,
How old
I
is
hope.
she?
She's 12. Yeah, so we got a few years. Probably like what's the cutoff right now? At 17, 18, maybe around then. We'll see. Maybe.
I don't know, none of mine are buying in currently, so you're
It's
you're
tough. It's
you're doing a
tough.
better job rubbing off than I am, so
Well, and like at first, like when I did like try to get into it, like I mean, I probably did push a little bit too hard, but I learned like real quick, like you can't push kids into running. It's like it's a tough sport. And I did think I think about myself and running. It took me like till I was 37 to really enjoy it at all. Like even when I was in the military, I didn't want to do that stuff for like PRT. So like I had to really like just because I like the sport, I can't push it on her, and she's got to figure it out on her own. She's got to suffer a lot through life before she likes the sport. You have to suffer. That's how I liked it.
well, I absolutely agree with that, and people come to running for all different reasons, right? But just being around it, I think, is opening the door and then you have to let them walk through on their own, correct? Because
Yeah.
if the more you force it on a kid, they're gonna see it as like punishment or a job or
You
and
want
we talked all about the mental aspects today. So
my
if
leg's
you don't
cramping right
want
now.
to do it, oh, but if you don't want to run, you're probably not gonna last very long.
No,
So
you have to really
anyway.
want it. Funny thing going back to the backyard ultras at the Capitol. So you went there and she missed meeting Laz by 5 minutes. That would have been a cool. Yeah, that would have been a framed picture at my house, but missed him by like 5 minutes.
Did we just have our first injury on the podcast? John, did you just like
I didn't mean to cut you off
did,
either. I just had
did
to
you
like
just
throw it out
like
there
Yeah,
because
pull a
it was
hamstring
funny.
or
Like,
something?
no, I was just
a
randomly
cramp.
cramping residuals from the 100, I guess, and being an idiot and doing a workout today with a fast marathon runner.
Adam, you're gonna have to start providing pickle juice.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if we've ever told the story on the podcast about Adam having a hamstring cramp in the middle of a restaurant, but
We'll
that
have to save that for another day.
the people may or may not have been ready to call the ambulance for him.
Yeah.
That's the funniest stuff. Like I did the Blue Ridge double marathon one year, and like I mean, it's a hard race if you run it hard, but yeah, after that, I was like screaming, like I was like out in public, like I just started cramping up randomly like that. But when I do a lot of vert, I don't really, I'm like kind of the hike up the hills type of dude. But yeah, like for some races, like if I have to run, I die after that. Like I just start cramping up. I need all the pickle juice.
Hey, John, where can people follow your journey or connect with you?
You mainly I'm on Instagram at Breezy Trailhead. That's usually where I'm at. I'm on Facebook too, but I don't really. That's more for joking around. I'm on TikTok too, but that's mainly for if you want to see Donald score goals. That's pretty much all I put on TikTok is him scoring goals and crazy stuff that we do. You might see us actually kick the ball over the fence. We're trying to do that. So yeah, you might see that there.
Awesome. Hey, we end the podcast here with what we call the after party. So, John, I'm going to ask you, I think it's about 9 questions, and they're designed to be like quick 1 or 2 word answers. So, whatever your answer is, no explanation needed. You just kind of just give us that real quick answer. So, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. What's your favorite ultra distance?
100 mile.
Favorite race snack?
Welch's fruit snacks.
What's your hardest race you've ever done?
Barkley Fall Classic.
All right. You're a morning runner or night runner?
Right now, morning.
Yeah, I guess it depends if you're doing a 100 mile or you're both, right? But
Well, that
uh
and like when you have kids, whatever window you can find. But right now, it's been
yeah,
morning lately.
gotcha. What's a bucket list race?
Oh. I've been thinking a lot of Western states lately. Western states, Badwater, Hard Rock, the usual suspects. All of them. I want to do them all.
Right. Favorite post race meal?
Pizza.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, now you're talking my language. Wow. Oh wow. I'm gonna say aliens.
What's one piece of gear you can't leave the house without?
Shorts.
Sure.
Gotta wear shorts.
All
If
right.
not, you'll get arrested.
Last one I got for you. What's your favorite section of the towpath?
Wow. Probably that one with the red velvet cake. Because you're almost done you're almost done at that point and you get cheered for eating cake. So yeah,
Is
it's gotta
that
be that one.
that's Taylor's Landing, right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like that's like I think what 3 or 4 miles away from the end. So you're almost
Yeah.
done. You get red velvet cake. There's no better. Like what could be better than that?
Right. No,
Now I
that's
That
good.
that cake is the only redeeming part about Taylor's Landing, though.
yeah.
I hate that
I,
spot.
I I I like it, but you know what's really you have to let me know if any psychopath says the beginning of it because like right when you get there you're just like I want this to be over with, oh my god, you're like, or like I'll be happy when I first get to the towpath because you're happy getting off the 18 not hurt is like that's a win right there. But very quickly you realize you're like I've got 26 miles of this stuff. I got to really quickly find a way to get my mind off of this. So like I'd say like anybody that thinks the beginning part of the CNO is cool, they're a psychopath or the middle of the middle of it when you start
Well,
like flipping out.
the middle, well, the beginning, the middle part is Harper's Ferry, and that part's like really nice, but you're not. Yeah, I mean,
So I like seeing that part on CNO, because
yeah,
the 100, because yeah, like the rest of it's pretty like much the same thing, but you get to see people there, and it's different. You got the bridge and everything, but on JFK, yeah, it's like you got a lot left, and it's cool seeing people there too. But yeah, I don't know. I'd rather see that on CNO.
hey, John, this has been a great conversation, a lot of fun. I think our listeners are going to take a lot away from listening to you talk about your, even though you said you don't really like running, your joy of running and racing and helping other people. So I think our listeners are going to get a lot from that. And maybe not this year, because I think I just looked at your schedule and I think you're booked around it, but maybe next year, first Sunday in November, we can have you run Revenge of the Mountain, our race that we put on. It's the first Sunday of November. I think you would really love that race, Fire on the Mountain.
I've been wanting to. When I do it, I'll cross out fire and I'll put revenge. I'll mark up
That's
my bib. I'll make a special
I'll
bib.
I'll make you a special T-shirt so we have you ready to go.
The revenge blood of the
Look,
mountain. Yeah.
there you go.
The fire blood
Yep,
revenge. The fire blood revenge.
Revenge on the mountain.
that's right.
Re- So much awesome. See, there's so much cool stuff you could do with that. But yeah, blood, revenge. Those are the key words for like the badass ultra. You have to have blood or revenge.
All right. Well, this
Now
has
we
been
know.
great. We appreciate it.
I had a great time. Thank you. It was worth the wait to come on your pod. It was lovely, and I hope everyone listening is just stays cool and keep the peace in ultra running. No, no, we don't need any more division. Just be cool, people.
Yeah, as John says, road runners and trail runners. Come on, guys, let's just get along, right, John?
Just get along. Let's get together. Let's just make babies and let's make it work. Let's make it work, people.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. We're going to talk about Chris's crazy running in May and June and how busy we are race directing.
That's all for today's episode of Tales on the Towpath. Thanks for joining us on another run down memory lane and along the C&O. If you've enjoyed the show, be sure to follow, share it with a friend, and leave us a review. Until next time, keep your pace steady and your stories flowing.